Hello, good afternoon, welcome to the final word. Manchester City 2, Everton 0 at the Etihad. A defeat, which is normally the case lately when Everton play Manchester City. Haven't beaten them since 2017. And Saturday was no different. I mean, Jack, was it pretty much what you expected at the weekend?
It's exactly what I expected, to be honest, and I don't mean that to put Everton down, because I think, we did perform well for the most part in what we were trying to do. We obviously had a game plan which would keep Man City out to try and limit the chances, and we did that. I don't think they had a shot on target within the first hour, did they? So,
until he scored the goal.
So we were having success in what we were trying to do, but we went into that game knowing that our game plan was purely defensive. It was about stopping them. There wasn't really much attention to going up the other ends, because we know if we go out there and try and play expansive football against Man City with our squad, the game will probably be done within 20 minutes and not in our favour. So, yeah, I completely understand why we approach the game this way. It's completely what I expected, but ultimately with a game plan like that, it can go right for 70 minutes, but the second it goes wrong, the game is probably done.
I mean, Ped, we saw even yesterday when you try and play sometimes against the top players, they can destroy you the way Arsenal destroyed West Ham. But for Everton, it was a case of trying to get a 0-0, I think, because I don't think we trust in our attack and play too much when you're playing against such a top side like them.
Yeah, it's near on impossible, isn't it? It really is. You need a plan that works, and then a little bit of luck, and the opposition not to be at their best, and you to be at your maximum, and none of those things really happened. You can, as Jack said there, your plan can work for 70 minutes, but a game isn't 70 minutes long. And when you've got a team that are that good, you look at the bench and how good every single member of their bench could have got into our team, and that's the gulf now. And a lot of people would still criticise Everton on Saturday, but individually we could have had better moments in the game. Players could have done maybe their job a little bit better. Still don't think it would have really changed the result, because when you've got a player like Haaland who's in that kind of form, what can you do? I mean, this is just Premier League football now. The gulf is just huge, and we went in. We had the plan at least, and it did frustrate, and it did work, and it does give you confidence that at least if we've got anything going for us, it is that back four, or it is the unit as a whole defensively, and that's obviously what the manager worked a lot of the time on, hasn't he? I mean, and clearly not a lot of work has gone into the forward play.
No.
Certainly without the core. So you have to just take something from that and move on. We won't be remembering this game. I can't really remember last year. Oh no, we drew 1-1 last year. I do remember it. No, but there's been games in the past where you just instantly forget them, don't you? And move on. And if this feels like one of those games.
Yeah, this was not a season-defining game for Everton. We played the best team in the world. They beat us, and we have to move on. Our forward players, that it's so basic and limited the way we attack, that we did have to get those moments perfect. And in the first half, we did carry a threat on the counter-attack. That kind of disappeared in the second half. But first half, we did. Final ball was poor when we got into good areas, and that was the way it played out. But manager went with the same team, and Amadou Onana was back on the bench. And we have been able to have a good structure away from home, I think, since Sean Dyche's come into the club. I think away we seem to know exactly what we're doing. We don't mind playing on the counter attack. We don't mind letting the opposition have the ball, and we look more comfortable with that, Jack, forcing them into wide areas and then dealing with the balls into the box.
Yeah, definitely. We've said our piece plenty of times. Everton are better when they have less of the ball, around that sweet spot. We were below that at the weekends, but we often do ourselves disservice when we have a lot of the ball, because we don't have the quality to, really control the game. We clearly haven't worked on that. No. In training, we prefer being the counter-attacking team of sorts. We like to get up the pitch quickly as well. We attack in quite basic scenarios. You try and get the ball out wide and try to cross it in. think too often we take it too close to the line as well, but that's another thing. Yeah, it's easy to look at this game and go, Everton approach this for a draw, and I do think the attitude would have been a point here, it'd be a very good point. Yeah. But, you know, I've listened to Sean Dyche speak before about, you know, specifically when he was at Burnley as well. I think he was speaking about the time that he went to Liverpool and beat Liverpool in the COVID season, and he says, I'd never ever approach a game looking for a draw. I'd be happy with a draw in some games, but it's always my intention to win. But Sean Dyche football, especially when you go to these type of grounds against these type of teams, it becomes a case of we're only going to win if, you know, we get that one perfect scenario, maybe we get a stroke of luck. To do that, we first need to stop them from scoring, stop them from having the game won before we even get a chance. So that's where it starts for Everton, and that's what Everton did for the best part of 70 minutes of the game. And you know, Haaland, like you say, he didn't have a shot until he scored his goal, but you know as soon as he's getting that shot, it's going in the back of the net, just because he's a brilliant finisher and the power he can generate. And look, I think we did a brilliant job in terms of shutting them down for the most part of the game, but it is just that one moment that will turn the games on its head and render our entire game plan not useless because we've avoided the drubbing, but it means any chance of winning has effectively gone out the window.
Ped, the way the Premier League is and how good Manchester City, I seen someone on Twitter yesterday, you know, moaning about Everton, worst team I've seen come to the Etihad and watch the point, and if that was my team, I wouldn't watch them anymore and all that. But and like, this was a City fan, and trust me, I've seen many City teams who were horrific in my time. They're brilliant now, but how quick you forget when you've got the money about what a grim side you were at times in history. We're having that time now. Our squad has been decimated by the Premier League rules. It has, just the way it is, where you've got another squad that has, and a club that has done things differently, and we'll see whether it's legal or not, but have created a wonderful, talented football team with the best manager in the world and playing superb football. But where we are right now, we know, as season ticket holders and watching every game, we know our limitations. Our squad is basic. It's built on a defence. Everton, before the weekend, had the 4th best defence in the Premier League. So it's built on the defence. The midfield is arguably the best midfielder was on the bench because he's just come off from injury. Our other big weapon in terms of goals is Decore. He's not there. So we're already hammered down to the wire. What else could we have done? We're not there to entertain because we're not good enough to entertain. So what more could we have done, really?
I don't think we could have done anything else, I think.
Isn't that an arrogance, though? That, like,
What's an arrogance?
Go there, play lovely football, get beat 7-0 and people pat you on the head.
What? Yeah. These people, they soon forget. You know, they soon forget that. Especially people who went... It's funny, me and Jack were having a conversation earlier on More Than a Game about what you're born into in football. You know, what generation you're born in. If you see changes, then it's you understand the different sides of arguments, but if you don't see change, if kids are getting born now and they're watching games in the next 3 or 4 years, they'll think VAR has always been around, and 9 subs has always been around, and
we're always been amazing.
We've seen horrific City sides, we've seen City in different divisions, we've seen City. We know there's a hardcore of City fans who have been there and understand the things they've gone through, and wouldn't change them for the world, the playoff win and all that kind of thing. But you'd have a generation of fans now who just see City as an elite team and never had to experience those days, and that's we'll hopefully have similar journey. I don't know if it'll ever get there, but it is sad when you get fans with that kind of arrogance. And it's rife in football now. It's one of the reasons why Everton aren't, I suppose, respected by a lot of football fans. Things change. But what can you do? They're the best team in the world. Like, it's not even a conversation. I don't know whether football is the only sport where, maybe it's not, but where fans think you can elevate yourself through hard work. Do you know what I mean? Like it's dead weird. It's like,
you can close gaps through hard work, but the quality's not. Well, Everton did, didn't he?
Quality will always shine. No, but quality will always shine through. Always shine through in the end. Especially if one team works as hard as the other. And Man City do work as hard. That's one of their biggest traits. It was one of the biggest traits of the Pep Guardiola.
Especially in the second half of the season.
But it was one of the biggest traits of the Barcelona team that he had. Is that they work as hard or even harder than everyone else. It's one of the reasons Liverpool's side is so good. It's because it works as hard or even harder than everybody else. And it's why other teams haven't been successful that do have good players in it, because they just don't work as hard. So how do you compete against that? How do you, if you've got a tactic and your tactic is try and get it up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin to hold, and every time he gets the ball, it's just taken off him because their centre-backs are proper centre-backs.
He was loose with his
No, he was
well.
poor. He was poor in terms of possession. But what I mean is that they never even given him a chance.
He was up against athletes, wasn't he?
Because they have defenders who know how to defend as well.
The 2 times he spun them, they fouled them, didn't he? And that was it.
Because that's the other thing City have is they have proper defenders as well. They don't have like defenders who are just looked at upon as just being classy and just another thing. The boss defenders.
They have this unbelievable.
I think there's this thing in football where if you look at a game like this and you go, we'll get beat there. Why are you like that? Why have you got that attitude? That's what's wrong with this club. Behave yourself. What's wrong with this club is that it's been mismanaged from top to bottom. And because it's been mismanaged top to bottom, they've stolen our joy of the game or any idea that we can compete with these football clubs.
Well, it's not even, you're right, but it's not even they've stolen the idea.
They've just stolen it.
The squad has gone. The squad, it's quality.
So when we were going to City quite regularly and beating them, go back and look at the teams and how good our teams were on paper.
City weren't that far ahead of us.
But our team now it's depressing when you look at our team in terms of the midfield and the forward line to what teams we used to go there. Some of the plays we had, they were brilliant.
We've got. I watched Saturday and I hate Everton losing any game. Fucking Everton losing a raffle. I get a cob on. But Saturday I just didn't have a cob on because I was like, even though it annoys me watching Everton play basic football, and it does. You know, looking at a game where you haven't got the tools to hurt the opposition. Doesn't matter whether you win. We've gone there with Everton teams. Like when Lukaku was playing for us, we didn't win there. But we had, like, remember, we drew 1-1, but we had players who could cause them issues. We haven't got it. It's not because White McNeil doesn't work hard or Jack Harrison doesn't run around. There's no issue with that. The players on Saturday gave everything. The quality just wasn't there.
It's a quality gap, isn't it? Which is why you've got to be realistic. You can still, look at individual moments in it and, look at where the quality is specifically lacking, possibly. But ultimately, you've just got to be realistic and not get too upset or angry about the performance. And, by no means you're not going to be happy with a 2-0 defeat. No. But you can go, look, we worked hard for a large section of the game. Most of the things we did, especially defensively, worked. Going forward, we can take that and use that. And then when we come into a more level playing field, like Palace on Monday, we can take the good things we've done without the massive quality gap that's not in our favour. All
I'll say is, right, I've just talked and praised the defence there. While we're so good defensively, we're really poor offensively. Yeah, and the numbers bear that out. So the numbers are showing you at one end, you're really solid and it's a good base to build from. How good we are at the back. But offensively, our numbers are terrible. They really are. So therefore, when you're going to a game like Manchester City, every time you attack, it's got to be perfect. And we had 2 good opportunities in the opening kind of 20 minutes where we had the Tarkowski switch to Mykolenko and he rolls it back. And if Dwight McNeil takes a little bit of care with his cross, Dom's got an opportunity and he doesn't. I don't want it, and just throws a ball in aimlessly and it goes right the way across. And then Jack Harrison does the same. Another good little break. He does really well. He gets round the back. And if he just has a little look, delays half a second, Dom can get in. He doesn't. He just goes, I don't want it, and fires it across. And Dom's like, what? Now let me get in there first.
That's the level of quality.
That's just where we are, isn't it?
Quality. Yeah. That's not a, if they done this, they won't do that.
No, I know, but I'm saying if they took a little. But we have seen McNeil take a little bit of care. But on the day,
I don't think if we had Pep Guardiola as our manager, we'd be any better. I really don't.
I think we'd be better.
I just don't think we're a good side. I think we've got bang average players, and they were workmanlike. And we've got as bad as the football. Like the football's not good. We all have to put our hands up and admit that. But it's the kind of football that will get us, hopefully, where we want to be, rather than being fanciful and going, well, if we do this and we do that and we have players that, the wingers that bomb on and all this kind of thing.
No, but what you getting?
Fanciful ideas.
Yeah, but what you're getting is you've got a base there which is solid, and now if we going forward, if we get our desired thing and stay up, because with other things this year, it's not the pitch this year that's affecting Everton, which it has been, and then we could add that couple of bits of quality in attacking areas, then your team does jump on again. In this league, forget about the top three, but in this league, look at Manchester United. Like they've got good players, right? But you look at them, and for most of the season, you're scratching your head, going, "What are these?" Like some weeks they are dreadful, and other weeks they win games. They're 4 points off Aston Villa, who are having an unbelievable season. West Ham, who've just been pumped 6-0 at home, we're in the top 7 in the European place for being solid and having a couple of X factors higher up the pitch. So Everton could follow that model and become a lot more competitive. But just right now, all we can really hope for is that kind of discipline. The thing what I took from it was the players have all bought into a game plan and they all do it to the maximum. Now, okay, that is for fans of Man City watching it. Well, guess what? I watched Luton at Goodison in the FA Cup the other week, and they done the same to us. They come, sat defensively, scored off 2 set pieces, offered very little else. But I didn't sit there going, they're the worst team that I've ever been to Goodison. I just thought their squad costs less than us, and they've worked their socks off and deserve to win the game in the end because they took the chances. Other teams have come this season and we've had to sit, we've been all over them, and they've walked out the door. Fulham, Wolves, Luton the first time in the league was embarrassing. They crossed the halfway line twice and scored 2 goals off set pieces and beat us. That's the way it is. That's football, isn't it? So for City fans, some of them to sit there with that arrogance that we should turn up and oil ourselves up and pull our pants down and go on, beat us by 8, and then you'll say, oh, Everton are all right. What a load of nonsense that is, because they are such a good team that you should acknowledge this as that team, that our team is fantastic and these have got to come and try and stop us. And that Everton did it brilliantly in that first half, Jack. It was the first time since August 22 City haven't had a shot on target in the first half of any game. It's incredible for us to go and do that good a defensive job. Players have to have credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. And that goes back to our performance being primarily a defensive one. And that's
not a bad thing, is it?
No, it's definitely not, because I think, especially when your squad's limited, the best base for success is being solid defensively. Because it means you're not out of the game before you get a chance to do something at the other end. When the issue becomes the other end is when you've got a situation on your hands where you're almost looking at your attack and your defence as a pair of scales. Right now, the defensive scale's far lower. It's got a lot more weight on it. If we want to improve,
got 2 bags of sugar on it.
Well, if we want to improve at the other end, we've got to start taking weight off the defensive scale, changing our system. I don't think we have the quality in attacking players for that to be worthwhile, for that to be the best use of our 11
Especially not
players.
without the core, eh?
No, especially not. You know, we've got decent quality of defensive player, I think good enough to the point where if we start compromising that to give us more license to attack, I don't think we'll necessarily score that many goals, but we'll concede a lot more. I think we've struck a balance that suits us for where we are right now, and to improve on that, it takes better players, it takes dipping into the transfer market and getting players who can do that defensive side, but also have more ability on the ball.
We are where we are. We're mid-table.
We were missing our most important striking asset, a corner.
We were,
We didn't get a one corner in the entire game, did we? And if you know, that's our. Let's get it right. That's our biggest strength.
We had 1 free kick, didn't we? Really,
we had no corners.
In a dangerous area.
So we had no pressure. The ball's coming back all the time. That's exhausting as a centre back or a defender. Let me just say one thing for balance, because I do think Ben Godfrey should not have been on the pitch. He should have been sent off. I just have to stress that he kicked every week.
Out with the face.
Every week we talk about things that go wrong. We were very lucky. Ben Godfrey should not.
Why
have been.
did he kick it? I know
he literally booted him in the face, and he shouldn't have been on the. Just saying that for balance, because every week we talk about we got lucky in this game, because really he booted that goalie in the face. how that hasn't been pulled
I
up.
think it was just because it wasn't a No, not
Have you seen it though?
No, I know. What I'm saying is because he didn't go like that, just because he went like that.
It's not obvious.
It wasn't like through his foot back.
I'm surprised it wasn't pulled up like this
I don't understand why he did it though.
But it's a second motion, isn't it? Because he pulls his foot away and
it's them moments. It's that thing where you go, what are you doing?
No, we were very lucky.
What are you doing?
That hasn't been mentioned. We're on the low. But
even that, right?
Yeah.
That done my head in there. That movement's not from him, from Dwight McNeil. The pitch opened up for the shot, and it's on his left foot, and I'm thinking, just get a shot away. And he tries to thread a ball through the eye of Neil. Jack Harrison done it as well near the end of the first half. Don went on a run, and he had 5-10 yards of space to run in and just have a shot. And he's trying to dink one over, and it's like, be brave. Just get a shot away. It doesn't matter, but if you bing one and it goes in the top corner like Gray did last year, the next minute you're winning 1-0, okay. City would have, imagine, would have still come back, but that was it. But I think the first half, I think we had defended without too many, like, really terrifying moments, hadn't we? Pickford never saved.
Doku was...
Doku did,
he was giving us lots to think about.
But our positional play was good.
With it not too
Tarkowski was fast.
Tarky made a huge block late on where it looked like they were going to get something. But we just kept at it. But the problem is it's relentless. And there's no variation in terms of what they're going to do. It's can you stop it? And if you don't have an out ball, if you don't have it stick, and I've talked about this the other day, the mythical game that Dominic Calvert-Lewin played against Company, where that was the night I thought he might be a good striker, this lad, when we drew 1-1 when Rooney scored. To watch him that night and watch him on Saturday was, there's just pales in comparison. Like on Saturday, we can talk about him not putting the ball in the back of the net, but I was really disappointed with him on Saturday. The amount of times. There
was 2 in the first half where his first touch was magnificent. He dragged it away, he held the defender off, and twice he passed it straight to a City player. And it's like what can you must be able to see, the lads in the light blue, they aren't our play. He just hit it straight to them, and one of them. There wasn't another pass on. I don't even know what he was thinking. He should have just gone back around the corner and played it on down the line.
And the worrying thing about that is,
and he has to keep hold of it.
The worrying thing about that is that if you're seeing that as a player, you're not going to start making those runs. You're going to stop because you're thinking about your defensive side of it. He lost a third of his passes. And you're right. We're not talking about the flick-ons. I'm not talking. No. I never criticise the centre forward for flick-ons. You get up and you try and do your job. You try and flick it on, and if there's a runner, fine. We're talking about he got it down, he got his head up, and then you're giving it away. And that to me is like,
it's criminal.
If you're a centre back, you are looking at him and going, what are you doing for this football team? We are working our backsides off. You're the out ball. You're getting it down. You've got to be able to find the blue shirt. And if that means going back 10 yards and you almost start again, then that's what it is. But you've got to start again with possession. That was massively frustrating.
I think in his role, it is hard to do that job perfectly because he's isolated, he's picking the ball up, and therefore has a lot to do. If you've got a lot to do, there's no harm in simplifying it and playing it backwards and just keeping hold of it.
You've got to keep hold of the ball.
We keep hold of it for more than 20 seconds.
Protect the ball. You've got to protect the ball.
But then that protects our defence in terms. It means it's not wave after wave after wave. It gives us these small breaks in between. We might not score from it because, again, it goes back to the quality thing. But being able to just get our foot on the ball for a couple of seconds, play a couple of simple passes.
One thing it showed me at the weekend, like glaring, knew it anyway, but again, it highlights it more because you're playing against real quality, is that there is no pace in this team. No. The striker isn't quick. He's not slowed on, but he's been recorded at being like really quick. I don't remember him really knocking it past someone and going.
It's not like first 2 yards quick.
No,
like look at Doku's pace.
Yeah, exactly.
That's first 2 yards pace. It's more like if the ball's 60 yards away, you can get this. If you over that
build up speed.
He'll get it. Beto's similar. He's not quick off the mark, but if you give him it, he can. But anyway, so he's not. Neither wide player are quick. I mean, Ashley Young, I thought had a decent game, but he's more defensive, wasn't he? So he's not quick. Harrison's all right, mobile enough, but he's not quick. McNeil's not quick. Michalenko's not quick. Godfrey's quick, but is limited. And the two midfielders didn't want to go on as well because they couldn't leave holes. So when you're playing against a real top draw side, where other teams have sometimes been able to get a goal or something out of nothing is they've had that little bit of pace. I always think back to like when Wolves beat them 2-0. That might be the last time he didn't score at home or something, but Wolves beat them there and Adama Traore got through, and it was just the fact that he had that pace on the break. Everything else, they sat in and had 10 men behind the ball, but then he had an outball. Everton haven't had an outball for a number of years after he really... Who's the outball? Walcott maybe, and he wasn't exactly great, was he? When have we had a real speedster? It's been a while. And that, to me, I was just looking on Saturday thinking, if we had one, maybe two wide players who were quick, that would cause a problem for the likes of City. Then you could almost be 7 at the back and 3 up. We just don't have it, and therefore, again, the summer, however, if we can get there, when you're on Football Manager and your filters, the number one thing has got to be pace, because there is nothing in this team that has got any pace, and in a league which a lot of times relies on pace, especially against top quality. Where's your outball? You know what I mean? We've had Anthony Gordon in the past when he got going, and I always think, like, you think back to the Anfield derby when Alexander-Arnold took him down and should have had a penalty. And he was one who would knock it and have you in a race and see what you had. We've got nobody that does that now, and that is, I know it's money, but there must be players around Europe who don't cost that much, you can at least run and give you the threat.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you want that balance between, you know, pace but a hard worker as well. I think sometimes people associate pace with our flashier players who don't want to do the yards, and it's not always the case. Counter-attacking teams, the teams who want to counter-attack, need pacey players, so these players do exist and they are around. It's just finding them, and, you know, maybe it means taking a chance on a player from the Championship or from leagues abroad where you don't often buy players from, but it is something this team is massively missing.
But I think
we've missed for a few years.
I think it helped. I don't know. I think it helps Sean Dyche's side as well, the way
we had Damari Gray, who was the closest thing to what I think you're talking about. Somebody who we saw last season in this fixture picked up a ball and everyone sort of backed off. And that's the thing, isn't it? When they pick up the ball, they back off because they're scared of what they're going to do. And he put one in the top bin. But we traded that in for a more rounded approach, players who could sit in the system. And obviously that's what the manager likes. He doesn't like a maverick. He likes a goose. You know, he likes someone that will work in a system when your back's against the wall.
I think you need it in the squad, don't you?
You need one in the squad, but with the finances.
No, and I mean moving forward.
No, but the way the finances work, we seen a situation, and maybe the manager. You know
what was mad about the Damari Gray thing? I remember after Sheffield United away, because our window was shut, but the other one was still open, wasn't it? Saudi Arabia one was still open, and he said quite openly he's not going. We want him to stay.
No, I was just about to say that.
He didn't want to get rid of him.
Say that. He said he wasn't going, and he went because clearly promises had been made to the player that he was leaving. He'd obviously said, when you set his heart on something, he understood his role was going to be limited, and he took the way out. And you can't blame that. Maybe Dan Juma has got a touch of that. Let's not get it wrong. He's got a touch of that as well, but he's been used sparingly. We have swapped Dan Juma out for him, so you can understand that. But Dan Juma's going to be missing probably for another month now, by the looks of it.
And he's not pulled up any threes, has he?
He hasn't, but he doesn't play. And footballers need to play football. You can't just come off the bench and just switch it on. You need players to understand where you want the ball and where you're going to run and how you. And he's a frustrating player because he isn't a player that ends up hitting the target all the time. So whereas the others are like 6 out of 10 players, so you know what they're going to do. They don't do it with any kind of, you know, they don't get you off your seat. I mean, Jack Harrison's never got me off my seat. Dwight McNeil certainly hasn't when he's running anyone. Maybe when he takes a shot. But it's really hard, and this is where we are right now, because the manager literally he's had to go. You know, he's got the family, he's got the kids, he's had to trade in the Ferrari. Well, I wouldn't even say a Ferrari, but he's had to trade in the slightly fast Ford Mondeo for, you know, a 6-seater, which you can get a pram in.
Yeah.
I think what a player like Dan Juma could have gave us on Saturday, though, is like, I doubt he would have scored or even assisted, but what you could get is scenarios where he can make a run in behind and you can play that ball over the top, and because he's got a bit of pace, the player marking him has to know they need to go with him. Now, they might clear the ball, but then we've got the second ball in a scenario where we've stretched City, which is something we didn't do all game. We didn't stretch them once.
But the manager,
then it's compromise.
But the manager might turn around and go, we wouldn't have lasted 70 minutes without a goal. He might have said, Juma's going to leave.
No, very much would have been the last 20.
And that's the problem.
I mean,
good teams have players who can do both.
They listen, 10 minutes into the second half, they bring Kyle Walker on and Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne's.
I think that's a win for us.
No, but we forced them into making
We forced them into those kind of subs. That's a win. I see that as a win.
We made them go and get the big brother.
Yeah. But, that's a win, I think.
De Bruyne's unbelievable. His hair's tremendous as well. And then Kyle Walker obviously was just bombing right on, and that meant
about pace.
We had to exactly, and we had to be, even more wary. Mikalenko wasn't crossing, whereas he'd gone in there half a few times in the first half. He was getting deeper and deeper because Kyle Walker's a runner there, and
someone tried to go past Kyle Walker. I can't remember who it was. He just stood there and took the ball.
McNeil, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah. But he just stood there and took, literally just went, yeah, mate, okay. I'll just have a little amble. You go full speed now.
No, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, but that's it, though, isn't it?
But they had that, and then you're looking at the bench, and there's Jack Grealish, and there's Bernardo Silva, and there's even players like Oscar Bob. You just going off. But it took them. We got in more than 70 minutes. Ben Godfrey was ill, thrown up on the pitch, and had to go out. I think Toffee caught him in the face, so he went back over and give him a thing, and that, I don't know whether that made him sick.
Disappointed not to see the sawdust bucket come out.
Well, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. But Godfrey went off and Seamus Coleman come on, and they still hadn't really done anything. They had a lot of pressure and stuff, but Everton defended brilliantly. But they get a corner, which there is some debate over whether it was a corner or not. It's Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Ruben Dias, I think it is, go for it. And it's a corner was given. James Tarkowski wasn't happy with the award of the corner, and a lot of people have said it wasn't a corner.
I think it was.
Very much like the Luton game in the FA Cup the other week, which hit Andros Townsend, and then they scored from it. You knew that this corner might, because as they were taking the corner, you're thinking, don't score off this, where it's being contested. And lo and behold, he did. It's a ball in. We don't deal with the ball twice. It hits Tarkowski's shins and breaks towards Branthwaite and the player, and Jared just slashes at it with his right foot, trying to get it out in the middle of the goal. And it comes to Haaland, and it's a right-footed rocket, the way he hits it. First shot, City, and him and Dad on target all day. And there's nothing Pickford could do. He gets a hand to it, but it's the powers on it, Jack. And that's what that kind of money and quality brings you.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say there was an element of luck to this without even speaking about, was it a corner?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
It takes a deflection, it comes off Branthwaite.
Goes through someone's leg, Coleman's legs.
Happens, the ball with Haaland. There's a slice of luck to it, but ultimately you've got to account for teams having a slice of luck against you, because every team will at some point or another.
I always look there, don't think if that was at the other end, would we have finished it so emphatically?
No, but then it comes back to the player. You've still got to take the chance. Brilliant finish. There's so much power behind it. I think Pickford actually
got a hand on it, but
didn't he? But
that much power. He done well to get a hand on it, because it come past players as well.
Yeah.
Really, and
that's Haaland's, isn't it? You expect that, and you can be watching that game thinking, oh, Haaland's having a bit of a quiet day today. He needs one chance and he'll get a goal. Well,
the two centre-backs, Ped, had done Tarkowski for me was man of the match for Everton, but him and Branthwaite had done really well. Haaland's unbelievable. The best number 9 in the world when he's firing. It's him or Harry Kane, and it's him, isn't it? Really. And Everton had done really well to cope with him. The two centre-backs have done brilliantly, but Jack's right, it's a little bit of fortune for City the way it drops to him, because I think it hits Coleman's leg and drops, and he just hits it, but what a finish with the right foot.
Yeah, it's 70 minutes of pressure as well. That's hard work for defenders. Really hard work. They're up against it. It just keeps on coming back. City players are moving positions, they're changing, you're having to stop. It's all about this a lot of the time, where it's players just defending space. It's defending where the ball's going to go rather than where it is. It mentally must be really tough. And it probably does you look at a set piece and think, we'll deal with this. And they get the first header on it, and suddenly that causes that little level of confusion. And it falls to the right man in the right place. He obviously works really hard to be in the right place. And it's just an unbelievable finish, isn't it? It's an unbelievable finish, because you're right. If our player hits that, it ends up in the crowd. It's as simple as that. And most teams would end up in the crowd. Yeah. But it falls to someone like him, and it's only going in one place. And again, that's the levels.
And that was game over, wasn't it? Really, once they got one up, they relaxed.
The players know that as well,
and they're so patient, aren't they? They don't panic. City, they just keep, especially at the Etihad, they're just still. We saw this at Goodison. We were beating them at Goodison, played really well in the first half, deservedly in front. Second half, they come out and just turn the notch up a bit, and they just keep it going. They try it, they start again and go. And that's what they were doing. And you're right, we were probably knackered by the time that went in, because we haven't even had the moments where we're putting them under pressure with corners.
We've only used one sub to that point as well, because we're trying to cling on to it. And that's it. The game's over at that point, because that was the tactic. We haven't had a corner, we haven't had a sniff. Players know when it's not their day.
And they've gone up a level second half again. Whereas first half, we'd had those moments on the counter where we'd done really well the opening 25. Stretched them a little bit, but the final ball was terrible. But second half, they were dominant, and at 1-0, like I said, they brought on Bernardo Silva, Jack Grealish. We responded with Beto and Chimiti.
Do you not think when it went 1-0, we should have just brought 3 subs on?
Possibly. And just tried to freshen it up a little bit and go, right, let's try and have a little bit of a go. But it's easy to say. We weren't, like, they weren't totally, like, having raiding shots in on Jordan Pickford's goal all day. And we were hanging on, but they just had such control.
I just thought from an attacking point of view, though, that once they went 1-0 up, we should have looked to have gone, right, let's get Chimiti on. Let's get Dobbin on. And give them a taste of...
But the irony is he did. It was still 1-0 and they were all on the pitch. Chimiti, Beto, Dobbin.
I don't see the point, though.
But they didn't. Yeah, but the 2 times we had it wide, we didn't put the ball.
No, I know, but the more time you give players, the more time they're going to have to do something and get into a game. I don't see the point in keeping faith for players who are not doing it. Like, you know, McNeil, Harrison, you could easily took one of them off. Dobbin, you could have took him off all day. I just feel like if you go 1-0 down, sometimes you have to respond immediately and go, right, the thing that we tried to do, it worked, but now we have to try something different.
See, we were at 1-0, you're thinking, get a corner or a free kick here. And we had the frustrating thing for me was we had twice on the run, we got in good areas. You know, Amadou Onana had come on and he was the only real one of our midfielders who got his head up and looked to break the lines off thread, and he threaded the ball through to Beto, who was off, he missed anyway, but he was offside. But it was the first time we'd had someone making a run. Right through the middle, and he put it wide. And then we had the ball out wide twice and we hesitated with cross. And then by the time Beto would run and stop, then had to come back.
But that's what I mean, you're 1-0 down. Why not make the changes then? Because the players on the pitch who you got aren't making a difference to me. To me, it's if you're 1-0 down at the Etihad, then roll up your sleeves and do something different. He just frustrates me with his subs. I understand when you've got a plan and it's working, but none of those players were going to get us a goal. None of them. They were all out on their feet. And there's nothing they'd done in the 70 minutes that looked like they were going to get us a goal. So I didn't understand how that was going to change.
Weren't you frustrated by the second goal, though? Because Everton had 3 opportunities to win the ball on the corner of their box, and all 3 of our players lost the ball, which meant the ball got one, played to De Bruyne got his head up, played it to Haaland. Branthwaite should jockey. He should have jockeyed and tried to force him wide. He didn't. He tried to go body to body with him. Haaland, too strong, knocked them over, and then Jackie's rolled it in as you'd expect. Cool as can be. Yeah. And it really is game over at that stage.
You can't afford to lose 3 duels against City in the space of a couple of seconds, because the space they'll accumulate in the time, especially when we are trying to push up the pitch a bit more. It just opens so much space for such a quality team. As for Branthwaite, he does the wrong thing, but he's a physical player who quite often relies on his physicality, but he's got that advantage. He came up against someone stronger and faster than him, which isn't going to happen most weeks, but it's something he does need to be prepared for. So I hope this moment is a learning moment from him as a centre-half. He's a great centre-half. He's obviously keen to learn. He's come on leaps and bounds. He just needs to... Yeah, we talk about players who have a physical advantage at youth level, maybe relying on that too much. He's carried that into senior level because he's bigger and stronger and faster than a lot of strikers as well. Haaland, he's the physical, perfect striker, isn't he?
Well, they're both 6'5". Haaland's just a bit. If you look at
He
it,
carries that pace, doesn't he?
And he's making that run, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one carrying momentum, and no one bullies Haaland off the ball. There's a reason why we don't see it happen. So it's about learning a different approach to different scenarios, and hopefully next time we play City, Bramford will have added that to his collection.
Well, it's only
the next time we play Man City, Bramford plays for Everton.
I think he'll do one more year. But I think it is that thing. We saw him make that error against Ivan Toney for Brentford a couple of years ago when he got sent off, and he's learned from that and improved. There's not been many times this season where he's had a little bit. Adebayo give him a tough time the other week in the cup game. Breuer gave him a tough opening 25 minutes when we beat Chelsea, but he got to grips with him. He played Haaland really well at the weekend. It was just that one moment where he didn't have to go for the challenge. He should have just carried on, stayed with him. Because we're never going to outrun him, Haaland. Could have stayed with him. But listen, he'll know now. It's like, right, I'll have to time that, right? One of them things, we were getting beat anyway. Yeah. So all it did was put the cherry on the cake.
And just to clarify, still a brilliant centre-back. I'm not trying to say
no, you're not. No, it's right. You're right what you said. It's them. These are the moments where he will learn, and he'll take it to the next. Because like I've just said, you can count the number of times this season where he's probably up against physical players, and he's learned from each one. Breuer, like I said, he got to grips with that after 25 minutes, and that was done. Adebayo gave him a bit of a tougher time, bullied him a little bit in the Luton game, but I'm sure he'll get used to it. He'll be ready for that next time. And this one with Haaland, so it was just one of them things. He went for it, he bounced off him. And Haaland, it's not the first player to do that, is he? And Haaland's
done that to many, big centre-halves.
And will continue to do it. Everton did have the ball in the net. It was a great finish from Beto, but the lines weren't really needed to see he was offside. But it was a lovely finish with the left foot, and I hope he gets more shots in like that when he's onside and playing, because those kind of moments, if he could shoot like that in normal games when he's onside, they would change his season and Everton's season with goals like that. And it was good to see him finish it, albeit. Because Ederson did go for it. It wasn't like Ederson knew he went for it. But, I'm looking for tiny glimpses here, aren't I, obviously?
Yeah, there's something. Give us something.
Give us something.
Yeah, hopefully just learn to time his runs a little bit better if he's going to finish like that.
Not a little bit better, Jack. Just time your runs. He was bloody miles off, but it was a good finish. Nice finish, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Again, listen, they were the far the better. So no, you can't even sit here and say anything about it. We just have to pick ourselves up. We've got a huge game next Monday against Crystal Palace, and that's where our line of sight has to be. But
no, I
thought Tarkowski played really well.
Defensively, we were fine. We defended well. We just got caught a couple of moments that can happen to you. And listen, Onana being back's a bonus. He was nice and neat inside when he came on and slid a lovely ball through. Unfortunately, Beto was 14 yards offside and still curled it wide. And hopefully Decore will be back for the next game. Hopefully. The shape's there. You can see what they're trying to do. And on other days we'll be okay. But against them, where they are at the moment, you need something. You need something, and
I'll be honest. I thought Ned would have done like Tarkowski's stats or something.
Yeah.
Which he could have got from SofaScore. Download the app. Why wouldn't you? It's free and you get all of that stuff. But just some stuff from it is Tarkowski, 50% of his tackles, 1 interception, 2 blocks, 8 out of 8 clearances, 3 out of 3 header clearances, 2 out of 2 header duels, blocked the cross, only committed 1 foul, finished with 87% passing accuracy.
Yeah.
From a centre half, playing balls out from the back, 87%, not bad. Means you're hitting the target more often than not. That, to me, was such a strong performance from a centre-back.
Yeah, he's a player who doesn't switch off, isn't he? Tarkowski, no one ever speaks about, that James Tarkowski lapping concentration. He's, especially in a game where you're going to be under wave after wave of attack, you need that. And yeah, the passing ability, I think, goes underrated of James Tarkowski. I think especially when we bought him as well. I remember a lot of people speaking about his passing's not great, and I thought that's a bit of a misconception just because he's a bit old-fashioned, he's good in the air.
He was the ball player in Brentford's back three when he played for Brentford, carrying the ball out. That was what he was.
He just didn't play in a team where he was asked to do that.
He didn't need to,
but it's something he's clearly got in his locker, and Yeah, I think he sets the standard every week, Tarkowski, either in his performance or his attitude or both.
Definitely. I mean, looking at Brantwaite's numbers as well, Ped, for 80% of his tackles, 4 out of 5, completed 100% of his clearances, got 2 blocks in, committed 1 foul. I mean, another solid performance, wasn't it?
One, not even like, he's gone to kick the ball.
Came out second best, hasn't he?
He's Haaland with his speed and his movement. He's just powered through it. You have to just cut the space off, jockey him and force him onto the right foot. That comes with experience, and now he'll know next time that don't engage in him. Just keep with him, and the longer you're with him, and the longer it's two against one with the keeper, then the less chance he's got of scoring. And that's a lesson to be learned.
No better way to learn, is there?
Well, I think there are better ways to learn.
The better way to learn...
Not scoring against you is probably a better way.
That's the best.
No, but if he does this now, he'll carry that forward, won't he, into future
for
situations.
Club like John Stones did.
Stop it.
Gotta be honest.
Oh, well, listen, you would expect him to move on because he's got such quality.
Can't judge a player by one mistake.
But I expect Everton to keep holding for another season. I think for him, for his own development, I think another season with Everton, he's going to the very top. So there's no rush for him to get to the very top when he's already, on his way. I mean, looking at using the SofaScore app that is free to download, it's really good. Use it. The link is in the description, helps the channel as well. The XG for the game, 1.63, Man City 0.32.
I'm surprised we got the 3.
Which is Everton. Well, yeah, exactly. If we just have a look at the other stats from the game, Manchester City 2, Everton 0, 19 attempts at goal from City, 5 from Everton. Just 3 on target for City, 1 for Everton. 2 big chances for Manchester City, 0 for the Blues, and a 27% possession, which is quite a lot for us at Man City. But it wasn't in the lovely sweet spot that we normally get. So there you go. We have to move on. Like we said before, Crystal Palace is a big challenge for us, and that's the game that we have to be looking forward to. This was never a game that you would have looked at and gone, we'll get points out of that one. So we just have to do what we do, and hopefully moving forward we improve enough that when we go back to the Etihad we have more of a go and carry more of a threat. But they worked hard on Saturday. I can't really have a go with the players at all, or the manager in terms of the game plan. The game plan worked for 72 minutes or whatever it was until Haaland decided differently. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, download the SofaScore app, and leave your comments. If you want to become a Toffee TV Premier member, where we're going to continue over there now, the link is in the description. The QR code is on the screen now. See you later.